Hey man, welcome back. Now this is going to be a very quick video and it's not a tutorial, so don't get overexcited. I thought it would be a great idea to do a quick and short series on tools or things that seem to be doing the same thing but actually do some things somewhat differently. To give you a hint of what I'm actually talking about, I'm talking about tools like the erode tool versus the rank tool, the merge tool versus the boolean tool, the grid warp versus the corner pin, the background tool versus the gradient tool, and the list goes on and on. Now I'm actually starting off this topic with something that does not belong into the tool category. It is more a visual thing, but affects in some way or another your workflow or speed. I'm talking about the way Fusion displays your pipes or wiring. There are two types of wiring styles, the direct and the orthogonal. Orthogonal. It's a difficult word to pronounce for an Italian. And once in a while I see people using it and I can understand why. It just looks nice and clean. But there's a problem with this wiring style, at least for me. So let me show you that problem and dive right into it. So what I got here is a scene that I just put together for the sake of this demonstration. The composition is set to orthogonal wiring. Some people call it elbow style wiring. Now, one thing you realize here, especially with these three guys, is that the wires intersect or overlap. Now, because of that, it looks quite organized here, but actually this could be counterproductive. The reason why is because you have to rely on this bluish highlighting to know where this wire is actually going to. Okay, so for example, if you have a replace material here and you want to insert it here, you have to rely on this bluish highlight. Okay, so here now you know that this is going into this one here, and then you would hook this into maybe this one here and another one into this one here. And now you can see that things start to go pretty messy already, and you will have to realign those things in order to make it readable. So suppose we want to add a lot more of these objects, like I always do since I'm creating a lot of my projects entirely in Fusion. So suppose we want to create a bunch of objects, and I'm gonna hook those in. And I wish there was a feature or function that would allow me to hook all selected nodes at once. And now you can see already, this is very confusing here. You could do something like this, but again, here you have this overlapping and you would have to rely on this bluish highlighting. And there's nothing wrong about that. By no means do I want to say that the direct style or the elbow style wiring is better. It really depends on you, man. In the best case, we want to align these so that we have clear lines here without intersections. So you would pull this out like here, and then you would add a couple of objects more. And it looks all right. And here you already saw that now Fusion is actually going down here and then over there and then again down. And for that, we would have to move the whole thing just to the left again. And if you add more objects, this would continue and this would go on forever. And you would end up having something like this. Now, you don't want that. If you don't need to touch these anymore, you can simply do something like, you can just leave it like this, for example. But you can already see that if you want to have things very easily readable here, you're sort of limited to the way you can align your stuff. Okay, so either it's to the far right or to the far left, or if you don't care, you can just keep it like this, for example. Now, for me, this is counterproductive because I just don't want to be always worrying about how I align these things so that it's easily readable. So let me show you what actually happens if I copy and paste this whole flow into the composition that is set to direct wiring style. So I'm going to paste the same scene in here, and then you can see already that we have this direct style, and you can already see that right away it's just perfect. It's just readable. It doesn't matter if you move it here or here. Of course, if you go like here, then it becomes like very difficult to read. But as soon as you move inside the left area or the right area, your stuff here is easy to read, and you can drop in your replace and you can just hook it in here, you know. If you still like the elbows, the advantage of the direct style is that you can use your routers here and you can sort of create your own elbows, which do not necessarily have to have the 90-degree elbows. For example, you could do something like this if you prefer. It's like a game. Try to draw some lines here with the rulers. Hey, look at this. It's like an optical illusion here. You get the picture. In order to change the wiring style, you go to the preferences, as you would expect, and you want to go to the global and default settings. In your composition preferences here, you won't find the flow. So what you want is you want to go to the global and default settings. Under the flow, you choose here pipe style, and then you can change this to orthogonal, for example, and you hit save. And after you hit save, you still don't see the effect. In order for the change to take effect, you need to copy this thing into a new, fresh composition. So now I created a new one, and I'm just gonna paste this in, and you can see that now we have our elbows. Here we go. Hey. In the next episode, I will be talking about the erode tool versus the rank tool. Hey. So until then, enjoy what you're doing. Hey. See ya.